Hi, I'm Marcus Hutzel, and in this video we're going to talk about the Endurax ShellX P01 backpack and why I think it's a great bag. To sum up everything here in the beginning, overall this is a very well-made bag. It has hard shell protection on a couple of spots, it has side pockets on both sides, it has a dedicated laptop sleeve, and it has a lot of capacity. It will hold a lot of gear. It's fairly streamlined on the outside, which means when you're carrying it, it doesn't feel very bulky, and the main reason I bought it is because it has a top quick access pouch. But as with every backpack, there are some negatives, and some of the small negatives that I've found are that once you've got it all loaded up with gear, there's not a lot of extra space for everyday carry items like a journal or other items you may want to carry. The grab handle isn't centered on the bag, so when you pick it up, it's going to tend to want to swing in towards your legs. The zippers, although very smooth, may come loose a little too well, possibly making your stuff fall out quicker than you want. And it does have a pretty decent waist strap. Unfortunately, even though you can tuck the straps in, they cannot be removed. But overall, this is a really well-made bag, and I would recommend it if you need to carry a lot of gear. Now let's dig into this thing a little deeper. So let's go over the good stuff again. Again, this is a fairly large bag. It will hold a lot of gear. So the main reason I got this bag was to hold 2 camera bodies and all of the extra stuff that goes with it. I also wanted to be able to grab one of those cameras quickly, which is why I got this bag, because it has the quick access top pouch. And this bag will do it. It will hold 2 camera bodies plus a whole lot of extra stuff, and we'll get into how that's done. So the main body of the bag comes like this. You get a lot of dividers, but this is how I've laid out the bag, and we'll pack it out here in a minute and you'll see how much stuff this actually holds. But it's a fairly deep bag. You can get a lot of stuff down in here and still have the top be able to close. So this is kind of marketed as a drone bag, but I don't own a drone, so it really doesn't matter. You can pack it with whatever you want, obviously. So I kind of like the way they suggest you lay it out with the dividers going vertical like this in the bag versus more or less horizontal. You've got this panel over here, which they market as being somewhere you can store your propeller blades, but again, you can put anything there you like. I'll show you what I put there in a minute. So a lot of space inside, a lot of space. You of course have quick access pockets on both sides. The one on this side flips all the way open. You've got a deep pocket there, goes down to that seam. You've got elastic, you can store small items, and you've got a little mesh pocket at the bottom. So I like the fact that this flips all the way open and you can get to everything that's deep inside the pocket. You've obviously got another mesh pocket on the outside for either a water bottle or that's where I put my tripod. The other side has the same mesh pocket, but the main pocket does not go all the way down, which can be good and bad, but if you're going to store something in there, you've got to reach down in the bottom to get it. So just keep that in mind. The top dump pouch, you can either have this divider in there or not, and actually you can remove this and actually make it to where you can get into the pack from the top. I chose to put it there because I wanted this top access pocket quick and accessible, mainly for my second camera body. One of the camera bodies is going to go in the main compartment, but I wanted to be able to quickly, when I have the bag, sitting in the car or sitting by my desk, reach down and grab a camera without having to lay the bag down, open it up, get a camera, and do everything else you need to do. I wanted quick access, and this gives me that. The laptop slot in the back is very large. You could fit well more than a 15 or 16-inch MacBook Pro. You could fit a binder in there if you wanted to. And one of the things I like about it is that it has this extra pocket right here, which is actually quite perfect for an iPad mini. I'm not sure if a regular size iPad would fit in there, but I have 2 iPad minis and they fit very well into there. And that's the rear pocket. And that's pretty much it for the exterior. The backpack straps are quite comfortable. There's quite a lot of padding on the back, so it feels very comfortable on my back when I put it on and load it up and carry it somewhere. You do have these adjustment straps on top of the shoulder, which I really like on backpacks. I don't know why more companies don't do this. But when you've got it on, got it all loaded up, you can actually grab these, cinch it tighter, and it pulls that pack higher up on your back. And I'm not gonna go too in-depth on my opinion of how padded these are or are not. They're pretty good, but I've found that no matter what review I watch, it's not until I get the pack and put it on to determine for myself if it's padded enough for me. But again, overall, the pack seems very comfortable when loaded up and on your back. All right, I guess I'll show you how I pack this thing out. So a lot of people would put their main camera body at the top. I don't do that. I actually keep my Lumix G9 with the 12 to 60 lens on it in the bottom. And of course it's not in here right now because I'm filming with it, so we'll solve that issue here in a minute. Oh, and it comes with a rain cover. I love that. I love that they just give you a rain cover because again, they advertise this thing as a drone backpack. You're gonna be hiking maybe across somewhere, and if the weather gets bad, it starts raining, pull this out, put it on the pack, your stuff's even more protected. But I don't keep this in the main compartment because I don't want to take up space. I actually keep it in this side pocket that doesn't zip all the way down, because I can shove it all the way in the bottom. And what that does is it keeps it safe so it won't fall out, because this pocket doesn't open all the way. It also means that I can store something on top of it, and that something that I store on top of it doesn't slide all the way down to the bottom of the pocket. Like my GoPro. Goes on top of the rain cover, and that's pretty much what that pocket is used for. And a small tripod. All right, here I keep an extra bandana just for wiping off my face or whatever needs to happen. And this guy, this is my Sony A-mount 70-300 lens. And because it's an A-mount and I have a Sony A7 III E-mount lens, I've got to have this extra Sony adapter to be able to mount it. So this is the actual lens that would fit on a camera, but with the adapter that you have to have, I basically keep it on there the entire time, which means this is the size lens I need to carry around. So it goes right there. Micro HDMI to regular size HDMI for the Sony A7 III. I usually keep it underneath my zoom lens. There we go. Still have room on top for more stuff. Got just a little mini super clamp. I have my camera strap that kind of sits in the bottom there. Oh yeah, and this triangular piece, which is really meant for the top, I use as an extra divider right here to help keep miscellaneous gear from going up into this space. Sensor cleaning air squirt gun. Mini gaff tape, love this, right there. Mini ball mount. And for the rest of the small pieces that you need to carry around, I just got a small like art supply storage box, and that sits in here vertically. Battery pouch, a couple of extra batteries, one for each camera. So this is my audio section. I usually keep 1/8" cable in the very bottom, and a Rode Wireless Go with its lavalier. Movo VXR10. I usually keep one cable with it. So on top of the Movo and all of the other little accoutrements, I keep a Rode Video Mic NTG. This is a great mic that goes right on top. Power supply for one camera. Battery charger for that same camera. In the other corner, I store lens caps for not only the Sony, also for my Panasonic. They fit right in the bottom. And then on top, I keep this lens, which is a 25mm on micro four thirds, which again is a 50mm equivalent on a full frame camera, f1.4, so roughly f2.8 full frame equivalent. But man, this is a really great lens. Kind of pricey, but really good to have. So since I'm actually using some of my rigging gear, I don't have as much in the center section as I normally have, but again, there's room for more. And then I use this red cover to just cover it up so that when I open the bag every day, this stuff doesn't just fall out. It comes with a couple of these elastic Velcro straps, so I use one to hold in the Sony lens, and I use the other one to hold in my second camera body. I actually have room for a full-size Tascam DR40 right there. So up next to my little parts bin, I keep one of these Maxpedition micro EDC pouches. And what this has in it, computer dongles for my MacBook Pro, an SD card reader, a couple of USB drives, USB-C, micro USB, I even have an Ethernet to USB-C adapter, and some extra SD cards in the back slot there. So this is nice, it's compact, and it fits right there. All right, now to one of my favorite parts, which is this organizer panel. I don't like to have to dig in and pull out something just to get a cable out of or dig for a cable. So that's why I actually really like this organizer panel. I use this for almost all of the cables that I would need quickly, and I'll show you. All right, so that's about 90% of what I usually carry in this spot. I'm using some of the equipment right now. I have an XLR barrel, even though I don't have a lot of other XLR equipment, always good to have. I've got the Zhiyun Crane Plus USB cable for my gimbal. I've got a USB-A to USB-C cable for the Rode Video Mic NTG for charging, and of course for anything else. I've got the Padcaster remote for my teleprompter. Got a 1/8" audio cable. This is actually a 1/8" audio extension cable, and I usually carry two of these side by side. Those are great to have. I've got another 1/8" coiled cable, the same style as I keep over here with the Movo VXR10, but again, I just want a spare. This is actually an 1/8" audio attenuator cable. It will take a line level signal down to mic level for your camera. I've got a micro HDMI to full-size HDMI short cable for the Sony A7 III. I've got an 1/8" to XLR cable, and I've got my blush brush. Very handy for eyebrows or your camera sensor. In this pocket, I have another battery for the Sony. I also have these two little parts bins, which holds an extra windscreen for a lavalier, a couple of TRS to TRRS adapters, headphone adapters, an 1/8" coupler, and I've got requisite lightning to 1/8" headphone adapter. Thanks a lot, Apple. So again, I initially really liked this bag because of this organizer panel. I love being able to open the bag quickly and just pull a cable out without having to dig for it, take things out. And this Velcros on, so if you needed to take it off, you can take it off and put it somewhere else. The unfortunate part is it doesn't stay Velcroed very well at all. And that really, for me, is just about a deal breaker. If they're going to design something to be able to Velcro, it needs to actually stay Velcroed. And I don't see anywhere else other than the bottom of the bag that you would actually Velcro this thing. So it's nice to be able to open the bag and get something, but if your panel flies off in the process, kind of defeats the purpose. So good feature, could have been implemented better. So once the middle section's all loaded up, there's, again, still space. There's space on top of this lens. There's space on top of here if I needed to put more stuff. And as you can see, my Lumix G9 with the 12-60 lens fits perfectly right there in the bottom. I'm not really sure exactly what this is for, but I assume you can just kind of put it over the top to kind of protect your gear a little bit so that when you do open up the bag, not everything goes flying out. Oh, and the other side pocket, I don't have a lot in there right now, but I keep one variable ND filter, which I keep in this fairly cheap Art Bin box. I think it's from the Container Store, with some of the little padding from Home Depot in there. One lens, not an expensive one, but it allows me to quickly access a single filter without having to open the main compartment of the bag. I just open the side pocket, pull it out, it's good to go. So I kind of reserved this top pouch for, again, quick access items, mainly for my second camera. Again, I wanted to be able to load this thing up, but at any time be able to just pop open the top and grab one camera and go. And this holds the Sony a7 III with my Tamron lens very nicely. It also holds my full-size Sony headphones with the camera in the slot. So even with the Sony in there, these headphones still fit. And by the way, if you're a videographer and don't carry headphones, shame on you. And of course, the laptop slot, which again is sizable. It's a full-size 15-inch MacBook Pro. Fits very nicely. As you can see, there's a lot of room to spare. So you could fit, even a larger laptop. Inside the laptop slot is also this other little sleeve, which I find fits an iPad mini perfectly. Again, I don't know if a regular size iPad would fit in there, but I don't own a regular size iPad, so the mini fits very nicely. And a tripod, of course. So there you go. So again, I got this bag for camera gear. But again, one of the things that I dislike about this bag is that once it's all loaded up with your camera gear, there's not a lot of extra space for daily carry items. Where do you put your battery charger? A notepad or journal. You could keep it in here, but again, if you just keep it there, then every time you open this up, it's gonna go falling out. And the other two things I carry every day in my backpack are my little medical kit and a small toolkit. So again, trying to load these extra two items in this bag isn't going to work. And I know I got this bag for gear, not for everyday carry, so maybe I'm trying to overdo it. But for me, it didn't have a lot of just extra space for random items. An extra pocket here would have been nice. Maybe you flip this open and it's got one extra pocket behind all this stuff for things like this. But I guess I'm kind of being picky now. And one of the things that is just about a deal breaker for me is that when it's all loaded up, as I said in the beginning, the grab handle is at the back, and it kind of has to be because you've got this top load slot here, and so you can't really put a handle in the middle. However, having the handle at the back, once it's all loaded up, once you pick up this handle, the bag wants to lean in towards your legs, which just makes it more difficult to walk, and you've got to carry the bag further away from your body, which is just uncomfortable. And I know it's a backpack, put it on your back, but if you're only going 20, 25 feet, I'm not always going to throw it on my back. I just want to carry it. I'm a big grab handle guy. I like to be able to pick things up and just carry them without a whole lot of trouble. And for me, the grab handle location is not ideal in my opinion. So that's pretty much it. Overall, I would definitely recommend it. You may just need to make room inside the main compartment for your everyday carry items if you want to carry those. It's all loaded up. It's very comfortable, doesn't feel too heavy, and I'm off to the races. See ya. After all the time prepping, setting up the overhead shot, the sandbags, the lights, the backdrop, loading this thing up, filming for an hour, I was in auto white balance the entire time. Do you even care or notice? Why am I telling you? I don't know. Outtakes? Auto white balance. Amateur. Amateur.